Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Talks. I'm your host Kiran. I'm a leadership communication coach. Every week on Leadership Talks, we invite a new leader to share their self leadership journey. Today, on the third episode of Leadership Talks, I have the honor of having Mr. Devesh Mohan to be part of our leadership talks. Devesh is currently with Canonicals as Director GSI-Sales. He has over 2 decades of experience in open source and GSI sales, working with companies such as Souza, Sifi, and HCL. In the last decade, Devesh has held various capacities at leadership levels, managing alliance managers, solution architects, instructors, and support functions to drive success by managing the ecosystem of GSI partners. He loves goal setting, goal getting, and mapping his goals along, with being a health enthusiast. With that, let me welcome Devesh Mohan to Leadership Talks.
Thank you, Kiran, for inviting me on this leadership talks. It's a privilege for me to be here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Devesh, for being part of this episode. I'm super excited, and I'm sure there are going to be some insights that our viewers today are going to take back from your sharing. Okay, so Devesh, you've been with GSI Sales and managing the GSI partner ecosystem for the last decade. Will you be able to explain what is the GSI ecosystem and the importance of global partners and alliances?
Absolutely, Kiran. So, GSIs, as the name suggests, it's basically global system integrators, and they are the global organizations who help different customers in ensuring that how they can help to provide them end-to-end IT solutions, whether it is with respect to infrastructure, application, or digital, or in any fashion where IT as a tool, IT as a backbone becomes such a permissive layer so that it helps organizations to grow in whatever field they are. So they become very important as a layer because they stitch end to end IT solutions for their customers. So that's number one part of your question. The
Mm-hmm.
second part, why it is important, I
Yeah.
think in today's generation, which is a digital age, partnership have increasingly become important in all the fields which are there. So I would say that partnerships have been there for a long period of time, but in this age, as we see that there is so much of digital consumption which is happening across the board of consumer, it becomes imperative for organization to build a digital solutions, and it has become so complex because the needs of the market has been evolving, and to address those complex needs of the market, it's very important that organization do those partnerships, organization build those alliances, because alone it's not going to be easy. And also, as people or consumers are consuming these technologies are also changing rapidly. The pace of change of these technologies is so fast that there are so many new solutions which are coming in the market. So
Mm-hmm.
for any organization to give an end-to-end solution, or to give what customer is looking for, it's absolutely important that they need to look from a forward point of view, backward point of view, adjacent perspective, that what are those solutions or what are those products which can come together, and with that they can integrate all of them so that they can solve the business problem, solve the issues which customer have. And that's only going to happen if there are these partnerships and joint alliance ecosystems which are working in tandem, and they cooperate and collaborate with each other.
So, would you be able to add on from your personal experiences on how you have worked with these global partners and alliances in providing solutions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if if I really say that these partnerships definitely helps, number one, in terms of the growth of both the organizations. So
Mhm.
if you get into partnerships and alliances, what happens that both the organization, or if it's a conglomeration of multiple partnerships which are there, every organization would have their own set of customers, existing set of customers which they would have, and it gives you basically that chance where you can, along with your partner, can go and do upsell and cross selling of your products and solution to that new segment of the customers which your partners have, and vice versa. So
Mhm.
that's something which gives a huge amount of opportunity for organization growth across the partner segment. The second is, it definitely helps in terms of to create new markets, because
Mhm.
I have seen over a period of time that if we are not there in a particular vertical, say if we are not present in retail or telecom sector, but my partner has a great presence in that vertical, that helps me to piggyback on my partner and help them and help us to sell our solutions in those particular vertical, or vice versa. If my partner doesn't have a presence, say in the Middle East region, it
Mhm.
and we have a presence in Middle East region, we can really help them to sell their products in that region. So it's all about in terms of the verticals where you can you can penetrate. It's all about geographies in which you can
Yes.
penetrate. And
Yep.
even I would say the third piece of it would be that you can collaborate together, and your time to market could be reduced, and you
Mhm.
can come up with new solutions at a much faster rate,
Right.
because that's the beauty of the partnership. Rather than investing your energy time in
Yeah.
terms of building new solutions, you can really build upon the partnership which you carry. So in all, there are three things which I think which are critical. One is in terms of the it provide you growth opportunity across the
Mhm.
partner organizations. The number two is it creates new markets, and
Yep.
number three is it helps you to collaborate jointly, and you can reduce your time to market.
That's really yeah. Thank you for summarizing the 3 points, because I would say that innovation is itself a very tiring process, and when we are able to collaborate with our partners, we are able to provide solutions at a way faster pace to our expanding markets. Thank you, Devesh.
Very
So with
true.
that, yeah,
Very true, Kiran. And I think I just want to add one more point here.
sure, yeah,
Being from open source, and currently I work for Canonical, what happens that innovate if you are part of open source community, open source gives you the freedom to innovate, because you can innovate at or absolutely no cost or at a very low cost, because
correct.
innovation is something where there would be a lot of failures and few successes, and in that, if you have to really work, you need technologies, you need solutions where you don't have to invest huge amount of money, and that's where open source from the community comes to help, and help organizations to really do or invest a lot of effort and time into developing and innovating into new solutions. So that's how we are also contributing to the entire community, entire industry market, to adopt and consume open source in a large manner.
Absolutely. So that's great. But I'm sure, Devesh, that in this pandemic, there must have been a lot of challenges that even global alliance leaders are facing uh, in terms of the reach, the market, the collaboration. Have there been challenges that you yourself, as a global alliance leader, have faced in the last year and a half with the COVID situation?
Yes, Kiran, definitely there have been, and I think these pandemic times have been really very difficult, and I think once in a century type of a thing which has happened.
Absolutely.
And initially, in the early days, I will say 18 months back, it was all harakiri. People were just not able to really understand that how to react to this situation, while they were all all in India especially, and also globally, there were lockdowns, and that was a time where it was something which was which created difficulty in terms of to remotely build trust and confidence
Oh,
with your
yes.
customers or with your partners. And
Mm.
that's something where I would say that the relationship as an alliance leader, if we were carrying certain relationship, and if we
Mhm.
have to build on top of it, it was still easier because
Right,
we were carrying some trust or confidence from the past. But
right.
the new relationships which we have to build, the new engagements which we have to create, that was something which was really tough, because you were not able to really, you were not sure, you were not confident that how what should be done over a digital
Over Zoom.
forum to build that trust,
Over the
right?
30 minutes
So
period on Zoom, how do you build that relationship and that confidence with your new global alliance partner? So, Devesh, would there be a
yes.
strategy, at least one thing that you think that helped you in building these new relationships? I agree, the old relationships were easier to carry forward. But was there anything in particular that you would like our viewers to know that helped you in building those new relationships?
So I think yes, it has been really a tough time to figure out that what could be done. But I think some of the things which could really help, maybe just pick up some time, or probably say this would be a coffee chat time with your partner, and try to do a small chit chat with your partner and say, okay, let's you will have a coffee from our side which would be there, and let's do this coffee discussion, because that's something which makes things easy. People start to normalize themselves, and
Right.
typically in a normal situations which we would see that when we are meeting in person, normally there would be discussions over teas or coffee, or
Yeah.
probably in some of the informal ways, it could be even we are meeting in the canteens of these large GSIs or outside. In India, there is this tapori culture where there would be those tapris which would be there, where you can have teas and coffee together. So that's something you have to figure out and be a little bit innovative. And I think some of these things really help to lower the guard of the people, and people feeling more comfortable to connect and engage with each other.
I think so. So basically, we are trying to make humanize this remote relationship as much as we can using our innovative, creative thinking. And I think that's what exactly,
Absolutely.
yeah, the leaders
Yeah,
are trying.
ultimately, because one of the things which we need to realize, that at the end of the day, it's humans who are doing business with humans.
Absolutely.
Whatever technology could be there, technology is just there to assist you, to help you. But
Mm.
ultimately, it's all about humans engaging and interacting with humans. And that's where you have to connect at that feel level. You have to connect at that emotional level. And once that happens, things becomes a lot easier.
Right. I totally agree with you. The trust factor has to be built. That entire relationship building has you have to invest in that relationship. Okay, so taking
Yeah.
that forward, yes, yes, would you like
And
to add
yeah,
on?
yeah. So I was just in one of my articles, I have given that formula of trust, which is all about trust is equal to relationship into expertise divided by risk. And
Mhm.
that's what the whole you have to look everything in a new paradigm, because expertise is something which you can bring onto the table even in the remote sense, but the relationship part which is there, that's something which you have to build. And once you are able to solve that puzzle in this digital world, definitely the risk element will continue to decrease and trust will improve. So I think that's something which we were trying to solve that puzzle during this pandemic time. So initial few months were difficult, but I think over a period of time there was acceptability on both the side that this is the new way, new norm.
The
So
new
people
norm, yeah.
also lower their guard, but at the same time some of these things like doing a coffee chat with your partner, or those things really helped. So
So
that's
taking
really
that
helped.
forward, like Devesh, now we've talked about that the challenges and how you have innovated in terms of your dealing with the crisis. Now, let me ask you a follow-up question on that. That has your leadership style changed over the last 2 decades? Because you started off with places like SIFI and HCL, and then you were with Sousa, and now you're with Canonical. So, how has your leadership journey been, and has it evolved?
So, very good question, Kiran. I think, yes, definitely as an individual, I have evolved, so my leadership styles have also evolved. And if I have to really broadly classify different leadership styles, I would say that there are four leadership styles which are there. Number one, which you act as a driver. Number two, which you act as a visionary. Number three, which you act as as an analytical person or analytical leadership style, and number fourth, which is all about being
Amiable.
uh, amiable. Yes, so these are the four different leadership styles which are there. And if I have to really think about myself, uh, in the initial days, or the way I have grown up with my values and belief system, I think being analytical and amiable comes naturally to me. But over a period of time, as I have grown up in the ladder, I think I have developed of being a driver also, because we being part of the sales, it's all time driven, that you have to deliver certain results within the certain period of time, and that's something you need to be on that driver's seat just to ensure that you are closing your deals, your opportunities within the right period of time. So that's one which has been developed. And as I said, that as growing up in the in the ladder, it's the visionary part of it definitely comes up, because you have to just sit back and think through that what and where you want to see yourself, see your organization after 1 year or after 2 years or 3 years. And once you have that picture, your vision, which is there, then probably your execution plan comes into the picture, that how you have to create your milestones so that you can finally reach to that goal which you have decided on. So that's I would say in nutshell that the being analytical or being amiable was something which came naturally to me, but over a period of time I have built on my driving skill, driving leadership style, as well as being a visionary, because I feel that all these are something each individual needs to have all these traits, because your decisions are dependent on the context on which you have to really work upon, and those contexts definitely decide that which leadership style would be best for that particular
I
time. So
agree.
that's
In
how.
fact, sometimes I would say I have an autocratic leadership style when it comes to creating the goals for the company. But at the same time, when I'm letting teams lead, then probably a laissez faire style. Or if I had to talk about involving the team, then probably a democratic style. So these are very similar when we talk about our leadership styles. We have to be, it's very contextual and based on what needs to be achieved and how you want to motivate and inspire your team. So it actually depends on that. Very good. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Devesh, for adding on to that. I would have one last question because we are running out of time. Can you share one message that you would like to give our emerging leaders in their growth journey?
So one of the message from my side would be that always when you are looking for that leadership position or as an emerging leader, always have a big picture and align your acts, align your task activities by looking onto the big picture. Because once that your activities, your smaller tasks are aligned to that big picture, it becomes very easy for you to reach to your goals. So that's one of the suggestions from my side would be align your task with your end goal which is there, and that will really help you to succeed.
Anyway, you are a goal setter, goal getter, and mapping your goals. So that was the right advice that you could have given our viewers as well as our emerging leaders who are in this self leadership journey. So, with that, thank you so much,
Thank
Devesh, for joining us on Leadership Talks. And thank you to all our viewers for listening us today. Leadership Talks will be back next week with another leader to share their journey. And don't forget to join us next Saturday on Leadership Talks and follow us on Leadership Card Facebook page. That's all from my side. This is Kiran signing off till we meet next week.
thank you very much for inviting me here.